My name is Dr. Arantza Mayo, and I'm a senior lecturer in the Department of Languages, Literatures and Cultures at Royal Holloway. And I'm going to be introducing a Year 1 optional module that we offer called Comparative Hispanic Culture, which is open to students taking modern languages degrees, comparative literature and culture programs, and liberal arts. And it assumes no prior knowledge of Spanish or of Hispanic culture at all. And in fact, what it's trying to do is to introduce you to the Hispanic cultural world from the early modern period right through to the 21st period, and it covers both peninsular Spain and Latin America. And the way it does that is by approaching materials thematically. So every year we select a number of themes and then explore cultural materials in relation to those themes. So we've looked at things such as power, discovery, and subversion, amongst others. So in terms of power, for example, let me give you an example of how we would approach the study of materials from this lens. We start by looking at early modern portraits of Spanish monarchs from the 16th century, and we examine how these images were constructed, how these poses, these backgrounds, what was being worn by the individuals, the colors that were being used, the objects that were thrown into the mixture were very, very carefully curated to generate an easily relatable image of power. People could understand that this was the powerful monarch of this emerging empire, that this was a healthy, strong individual that could control the emerging empire successfully. So we are looking at all the elements that go into the making of that image that has a very strong communicative power, and we draw from our own knowledge and visual literacy that we of course have developed by looking at things such as Instagram posts, or just simply engaging with advertising, from billboards to magazine adverts. We live in a very visual culture now, but this rests on a literacy and an iconography that has been built over centuries. So that's the first part of this themed power analysis. And then we move on to a novel written in the 21st century about 20th century dictator, Rafael Leonidas Trujillo, a brutal dictator in the Dominican Republic in the Caribbean, whose last weeks were fictionalized in a novel by Mario Vargas Llosa. He's a Peruvian writer, Nobel Prize winner. And in this novel, we get a glimpse of how this dictator also constructed, developed, and presented his image, his physical image, how he dressed, in what occasions, how he managed his masculinity, how this was reported in the press, and how he used his image to really make it very clear to people that he was in control and that he was in power, and that power very much was linked to his sexual prowess, to how he interacted and sent these messages through items of clothing, for example. So we are looking at two separate sets of material, one visual but which has been rendered through words, and two different periods. We are learning about the different political and social contexts of each of these periods, and we are then bringing this together to try and extract knowledge about specific strategies that are common, things that maybe have changed, that have been adapted because of context. So we are doing an awful lot of things rather than just looking at materials in a narrow, isolated way. You are developing critical approaches because you're just not looking at things independently. You're thinking, yes, but how does this relate to this other material? How does this relate to this other period? Is there a continuation? Is there a disjunction? So you're not just acquiring knowledge, which you are, you're also developing very useful critical skills that will serve you very well as you progress through your degree and indeed as you start your professional career a few years later.